Welcome back, families at home. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, checking the mic. Welcome.
University of Idaho Vandals, on PM attack.
All right, folks, headed into the face-off for round two. We got Ty Carrier at the face-off with Highland and McCarthy at his right and left. Elam and Rock behind, taking up the defense. Carrier sends the face-off. Vandals win it. Take it back into their own zone. Send it up past the blue. Intercepted by McCarthy. Brought in the offensive zone. Back out to the red. Holland takes it in. Holland in the slot. Over to McCarthy. McCarthy's in the circle. Sends it across the slot over to Carrier. Doesn't quite get to him. Carrier takes it. Elam keeps it in the zone. Sends it in the boards around the net. McCarthy sends it back over to Carrier in the corner. Carrier over to Elam. Elam shot at the net. Going for a pad pass. McCarthy can't quite connect with it. Vandals have it in the corner. It's battle. Vandals fling it out. It's intercepted at center ice by Elam. Glove down, and the Vandals pick it up. Vandals dump it in the Montana Tech defensive zone. A little bit of a scuffle for the puck. Elam sends it up over to McCarthy. McCarthy takes it into the offensive zone. A little bit of a changeover there with Carrier, and it ends up getting sent out of the zone. Elam rushing back over towards the Montana Tech net, picks up the puck. Sends it up the boards. Kelly grabs it. Montana Tech just did their first shift change. Kelly going down the ice, tries to get into the offensive zone. Vandals poke check it out, send it across the ice. Vandals up, center ice, into the offensive zone. Elam sends it around the boards. Battle at the point in the defensive zone. Shot by the Vandals, goes wide. Vandals stick it into the corner. Keener taking it around the net. Keener up to the boards. That's Kelly on the boards, battling for the puck. Tries to clear the zone. Get it to DeLici. DeLici doesn't quite reach it. That's Elam with the puck again, gets it out. DeLici and, no, that's not Elam, that's Keener. Oh, that is... Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. That's not Keener, that's Kramer. Both K names. Keener and Kramer now in the corner battling for the puck. That's Keener behind the net. Vandals take it from them. Vandals chip it up out of the zone. Intercepted by Asher. Asher's battling for the puck. Vandals take it into the offensive zone. Shot on net. Stopped by Rolfson. Not Rolfson? Who? Is that Eagle? Is that pronounced Eagle?
Which one? Okay.
Yeah. Angle? Oh, thank you. That's not an A. That's an N. All right. Good save by Angle. Montana Tech behind their own net. I think that's Kelly battling. Vandals take it. Send it up into the slot. Shot! And it goes wide. Vandals in the corner. Send it up to the point. Shot from the blue. Goes wide and around the boards. Vandals try to pick it up at the point. Slips past them. Goes all the way down to the other end of the ice, and the Vandals pick it up by their own net. Kelly putting pressure on in the offensive zone. Montana Tech ends up taking possession, but loses the offensive zone. Middle of the ice, that's Kramer. Over to Asher. Asher dumps the puck towards the net. Crecilius, sorry, I'm probably going to mess up that name a couple nights tonight, but Crecilius knocks the puck over to the side. It's now Kramer at center ice. Keener at center ice. Over to Liam Beer. Liam Beer dumps the puck. That's not Liam Beer, that's Riblinger. Battle on the boards. That's Shockey, Inman, and Riblinger all battling for the boards. Goes behind the net. The Vandals send it back around. Vandals in possession of the puck up against the boards. Gets deflected off the boards, up over into the slot, and the Vandals pick it up, take it out of their own zone. Spin on with a pass over, clears the zone. Riplinger coming in, shot! Top right corner, Riplinger scores, first of the night, and Montana Tech is on the board 1-0 with 16:12 left in the first period. Great shot there by Riplinger. Just slips past the glove of Crecilius. Looks like Carrier will be taking the face off again. Elam and Rock on defense. Vandals win the face off again, but Holland ends up taking the pucks into the offensive zone. Holland in the bars. Vandals take it from him. Holland Vandals try to send it around the boards, and it's intercepted by McCarthy. Vandals steal the puck from McCarthy and launch it up down the ice. Elam picks it up in the Montana zone, sends it up the boards. Holland back over to Carrier. Carrier down the ice. Bottom of the circle. Carrier's in the corner. Carrier taking it around. He's really skating with it right now. Sends it back over to Elam. Elam over to Rock. Rock at the top of the circle. Shot. Goes off the glove of Crasilius. It's in the corner now. Carrier has it at the top of the circle. Shot by McCarthy. Gets deflected wide. Elam sends it towards the net again. Carrier's in the center, but can't quite get a hold of it. The Vandals launch it down the ice for icing. That looks like two Y's.
Yes. Ranger shocking.
Sorry, folks, for all the missed names. The sheet I have is handwritten, and it looks like hieroglyphs. I could use a Rosetta Stone right now. Anyways, the Vandals are taking the puck down in the offensive zone. Shot! Goes wide. Looks like Engel nudged the net there a little bit, but no whistle. Montana Tech battling against the corner. That's Elam in the corner. Elam around the net, over to Carrier. Carrier in the other corner, takes it up the boards. Carrier dumps it out of the zone. Holland tries to pick it up. Vandals grab it instead and bring it back into the offensive zone. Picked up by Elam. Elam sends it over to McCarthy. Can't quite keep track of it. Get a hold of it. There you go. Rock battling for it on the boards. It's a little bit of a kerfuffle that I can't see. Kerfuffle, what a great word. Anyways, Montana Tech takes it into the offensive zone. Elam, shot from the top of the slot, and it goes wide. Holland over to the slot again. McCarthy with the puck. Shot! Excellent save by Crasilius. Good job moving that blocker over by Crasilius. They might have saved the puck, but unfortunately the water bottle wasn't so lucky. Slips right past Crasilius. Crasilius. I told you I'd mess up that name tonight a couple times, and I was right. All right. Keener wins the faceoff. Gets over to Kramer. Kramer in the corner. He's going to battle against the board. Sends it over to Kelly behind the net. Kelly with the puck behind the net in the offensive zone. Kelly in the border. Turns around behind the net again. Kelly tries to set it up in front, and it's no goal. Sorry, it appears the mic disconnected there for a second. Kelly tried to stuff it in and it bounced across the goal line, but the refs called no goal. From my vantage point, it certainly looked like a goal, but I'm not a ref. That's why I'm up here announcing to you. DeLici in the corner, in the offensive zone. Sends it back to Kramer. Yes, that's Kramer. Perfect. All right. Anyways, battle in the corner. Keener sends it over to Kelly. Kelly behind the net. Kelly in the corner again. Kelly bringing it up. He's at the point of the blue. Sends it back over. Picked up by Keener. Vandals have it in the corner. Send it around the boards. Vandals pick it up at the blue and set it down the ice. Asher picks it up at the red. Ends up getting tripped. No call. Stick is dropped. That's Keener with a shot right into the goalie's mask. Shout out to our own goalie for being able to take pucks in the face. And his bravery that I do not know. Anyways, Ripplinger heading down in the defensive zone after the Vandals win the faceoff. Ripplinger sends it across the ice, stretch pass over to Inman. Inman can't quite keep a hold of the puck, and is now Shake battling in the offensive zone. Beer sends it in the offensive zone, but it's offside, so No call on that. Sawyer's doing MMA now. Sawyer Inman, Inman. Ripplinger takes it into the offensive zone. It's another player down. And I believe we have offsides. Montana Tech will be facing off just outside of the offensive zone. Carrier at the circle. Vandals win the face-off into their own zone. Chased down by Ripplinger. Ripplinger in the corner. Vandals send it up the boards. Inman trying to battle for the puck. Sends it back around the net. Vandals pick it up behind the net. Vandals up the boards. Intercepted by Rock. Rock sends the puck. Attempted tip by Ripplinger. Doesn't quite make it through. Rock with the puck at the point. Sends it down the boards. Ripplinger battling for the puck. Inman on the boards, chasing. Elam. That's Shockey. Vandals take a pass, past the red, past the blue, into the offensive zone. Elam battling with a Vandal for the puck, just at the top of the circle. Montana Tech clears the puck, and it's picked up by Ripplinger at the red. Stretch pass over to Shockey, that is really offsides, and the Vandals will get a chance to reset. Tech goes for a change, and the Vandals make a push into the offensive zone. Shot goes wide. Another shot behind the net, picked up by Rock. Rock over to Biolchini. Thank you. I'm going to remember that one in like 3 or 4 times saying it. All right, Biolchini's over in the corner. Grabs the puck against the boards. Checked by the Vandals. Elam ends up blocking the puck. Keeps it in the zone. 2 sticks loose. Rock intercepts at the blue. Keeps it in the zone once again. Elam with a shot. Holland flings it at the net, and it's Biolchini in front. Sends it back to Elam. Elam over to Holland. Sticks are going flying everywhere. I think that last one could have made a good chance at a javelin competition. Anyways, Holland battling in the corner. 12. That's Dylan Aberle. If I'm not mistaken, this is his first time out on the ice this season. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. Rock takes a shot, deflected wide. Montana Tech clears the zone and go for a shift change. Vandals dump it back in, and it's picked up by Rock behind Montana Tech net. Carried into the zone by Carrier. Holland sends it over to Carrier again. Elam picks it up. He's in the defensive zone. Sends it up the ice over to the blue. Carrier behind the net. Carrier takes it around the net. Sends it across the ice over to Keener. Kramer battling in the corner. Up against the boards. Holland moves in, and it gets back to Carrier. That's Carrier. Elam with a shot. Bouncing puck ends up going wide. Battle in the corner that I can't see. Looks like Carrier picks it up at the point. Carrier walking down, top of the circle. Shot! Off the post. Just barely tipped off the glove by Crasilius. Crasilius barely gets a piece of that. Might have been what determined whether that was a goal or not. Behind the offensive net, that's Kramer. Battle up against the bars that I can't see. I believe that's Liam Beer in the corner. No, that's Delici. Shot missed, and the Vandals pick it up. Vandals try to send it off the boards. Picked up by Kelly into the offensive zone. Delici into the slot. Deflected off a skate and just missed by Keener. Vandals pick it up in the slot, heading down the ice, past the red, past the blue, and into the offensive zone. Intercepted by Kramer. Kramer gets checked and it's picked up by Delici. Delici into the corner, the offensive zone. Shot by Kramer. Asher in the board, sends it into the corner. Asher at the top of the circle, attempted shot, and it's blocked by the Vandals. And the puck goes into the corner. Kelly picks it up, battling with the Vandals. That's Keener. That's Keener. Kelly over on the boards. Once again, Kelly, Kramer and Asher, Keener and Asher, Kramer and Asher. No, Keener and Asher. All battling there. I will get this, I promise. Shockey will be taking this next face-off in the offensive zone. Ripplinger on his left, Inman on his right. It appears we have Beer and Ripplinger on defense. Inman battling in the corner after the face-off. Vandals pick it up from him and take it down the ice. Ripplinger sends it into the corner. Around the back of the net. Vandals pick it up in the corner. And now it's a battle behind the net. Shockey. Well, goes past the skate of Ripplinger and out of the zone. Vandals chasing down the puck. Stopped at center ice. Stopped at the red line. Ripplinger taking it in, dumps it into the offensive zone. Other Ripplinger is going to be chasing it down. Behind the net, into the boards in the corner. Ripplinger sits in front of the net. Inman with a shot. Blocked off the shin guard of the Vandal. Followed up by another shot by Shockey. All of which are blocked. Inman at top of the slot. Shot. Blocked by the mask of Crecilius. Second face shot of the night. Another shot just deflected wide of the net. Battle in the corner. That's Shockey and Ripplinger. Over to the other Ripplinger, and the Vandals end up taking it. Vandals. I don't know why this headset is having so many issues. I know I'm not stretching it too much. Apologize for the interruptions. Hold on 1 second. I will be fixing something technologically. It's just not registering the audio, and I have to. No, it doesn't now. When I unplug it and plug it back in, it works again. So it's something with the jack, and I don't know. Like I'm not stretching it. I'm not stretching it. I could go over there and be fine. I won't, but I could. All right, I said I was fixing something, but I looked at it and I don't even know what to fix. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. Carrier, face off in the Vandal zone. Vandals win the face off over to the boards. Vandals send it all the way down the ice, and that's going to be icing. Not icing, because Engels touched it. Montana Tech resetting, and it's a Montana Tech power play. Holland drops it back. Carrier takes it into the zone. Carrier circling back up towards the point, dropping down towards the circle. Carrier looking for a pass. That sends it over to Elam. Elam at the top of the slot near the blue. Shot by Carrier, deflected off the pads. And the net is knocked off. Minute 26 left in the power play. Montana Tech looking to put their second of the night in the net. Not a lot of penalties last night. We'll see if that trend continues tonight. Seems to be a little bit more of a physical game. Elam has the puck at the blue. Walking across past center ice, sends it into the corner. Delici picks it up. Delici sends it back to Elam. Elam walks towards center ice. In front of the net, Carrier with an attempted behind the back shot and blocked by Crecilius. Good eyes by Crecilius. Elam takes it down the ice. At the red, Holland walks it into the offensive zone past the blue. Holland behind the net. Holland looping around. Center of the circle, shot! Score by Holland. Holland doing a little bit of a trip around the equator of the offensive zone, ends up sticking it into the back of the net. And Montana Tech is now up 2-0 with 5:06 left in the first period. If my memory serves correctly, Montana Tech is now 2 for 3 power plays in this 2-game series. Vandals win the faceoff, taking it into the offensive zone. Vandals have it behind the net, pressured by Asher. Vandals send it back to the point. Shot blocked by Engel. Another shot from the slot, off the post. Puck is loose in front of the net, and Tech clears it out. Puck is sent back behind the net. A little bit of a close call there in front of the net. Vandals take the puck back, make a move down the ice, past the blue, past the red, past the blue, and into the offensive zone. Vandals have to send the puck wide after being pressured by Kelly. Vandals take the puck back out of the offensive zone and reset. Vandals dump it back in behind the Montana Tech net. Picked up by Kramer. Kramer sends it back behind, and that's picked up by Shockey. Thank you. That's Keener on the boards. Vandals pick it up at the point. Screened shot, blocked by Engel. Shockey in the corner. Puck's behind the net. Vandals have control. Vandals send it in front of the net in the slot. There's a shot, blocked by Engel. Puck's still loose in front of the net. And Montana Tech clears it out to the corner. Vandals try to send it up to the point, and it slips past their defenseman, and they have to reset. Vandals dump it into the zone, and it's picked up by Kramer. Vandals currently favoring the dump and chase strategy, and it seems to be paying off. Battle at center ice. Montana Tech brings into the offensive zone. Holland chasing the puck into the boards, and it's knocked back to Elam. Elam with a slap shot, intercepted by the Vandals. The Vandals break it out of their own zone. Past the red, poke check by Elam. Elam takes the puck, sends it across over to Rock. Rock to Carrier. Carrier walks into the zone. McCarthy and Holland behind the net. McCarthy walks away with it. McCarthy drops back to Carrier. Carrier behind the net. Over to Elam. Elam tries to take a shot and whiffs. Carrier walks center ice. Shot! Top cheddar by Carrier. A great movement in the zone there by the first line. Carrier ends up walking away with the goal after walking around the circle. Face off center ice, Vandals win. Vandals send it over and end up dumping it in the defensive zone. And it looks like we'll be facing off in the center ice. No, just outside of the Montana Tech defensive zone. Montana Tech wins the faceoff. It's over to Rock. Rock over to Holland, but it's still on the defensive zone. Shot from the Vandals at the blue, blocked by Montana Tech. Call on the ice. Didn't quite see it. Looks like they'll be facing off again just outside of the Montana Tech defensive zone. Carrier with a relatively low faceoff percentage tonight. Taking it once again. Wins the faceoff back to Elam. Elam over to Holland. Holland chasing the puck into the defensive zone. Creselius gets a hold of it. It's over in front of the net. Carrier in front of the net. Vandals chip it out. Goes over to Elam at the point. Elam sends it over to Rock. Rock picks it up. Rock walks down into the corner. Rock behind the net. Wraps around, sends it out in front. Nobody's in the slot to stuff it in. Holland grabs the puck once again. Holland Back over to Carrier. Carrier walking behind the Montana Tech net, building up momentum for another push. Past the blue, past the red, past the blue again and into the offensive zone. Carrier with another shot. It's around to Elam. Elam sends it up the boards. Carrier against the boards again. That's Elam over to Rock. Rock, shot, blocked by Crescelius. Carrier over to Holland. Holland at the top of the circle over to Rock. Rock at the blue, over to Kelly, who has just gotten on the ice. Kelly in the corner. Sends it back over to Rock. Rock, shot from the slot, blocked by the Vandals. A lot of block shots by the Vandals tonight. Doing a good job getting in front of the puck. Holland with a shot, and that's another goal. That's Holland's second of the night. Great one-timer by Holland right from the slot. With so many folks in front of the net, Crescelius didn't really have a good eye on the puck. That puts Montana Tech up 4-0 with 1 minute left in the first period. Carrier sends it back to Beer, winning the faceoff. Beer battling at the red. DeLici steps in, and the puck goes out for the Vandals. Vandals taking it into the offensive zone. Shot goes wide. Shot up the boards. Vandals have it in the slot, and it's taken by Kelly. Kelly drops it back to DeLici. DeLici up the boards, taking it into the offensive zone. DeLici, it's looked like it's going to be offsides, and the Montana Tech resets. Battle against the boards. It's DeLici, Kelly, and Keener. Vandals clear the puck, but it's back to Ripplinger. Ripplinger dumps it into the zone. DeLici, battling in the corner, instead of going for the puck, goes for a hit. Keener does the same. Picked up by Kelly. Vandals end up grabbing the puck from the scuffle and break it out of the zone. Picked up by Ripplinger, and that's the end of the first period. That's the end of period 1. Montana Tech 4, Guess 0. By the Guess, I mean Vandals. Sorry, Mike wasn't plugged in. Montana Tech in the defensive zone. Elam sends it up to Holland. Holland walks past the red, past the blue. Carrier with a shot. Goal. 26 seconds into the second period. Montana Tech is now up 5-0. That's Carrier's second of the night. Third. Second or third? Carrier taking the face-off once again. Vandals win. Elam over to Rock. Rock to Carrier. Carrier walks up past the red, past the blue, and into the offensive zone. Carrier tries to stuff the puck in, but Crescelius holds onto it. Ooh.
Montana Tech goal scored by 27. Ty Carrier, assisted by number 10,
The last goal is assisted by Cade Holland. Montana Tech faces off in the offensive zone. It's deflected off a skate and out. The Vandals chase down the puck. Montana Tech picks it up. That's Kramer. Circling back around. Kramer walks up the boards. Kramer over. Vandals shot from the circle, and it's stopped by Angle.
Remember, folks, to visit the exit doors for 50/50 raffles as well as the winners of the raffle will receive the MDT 1145 as
Face off in the defensive zone. Several players go down just off the face off. Kelly clears the zone, walks down. Vandals struggling with a short bench this weekend. I believe they only have 2 lines. These players must be tired after 2 games. Tech in the offensive zone. Top of the slot, shot by Asher, deflected high and out of play.
Also, be sure to make yourselves
Face off won by Tech. Asher up at the blue. Shot goes wide. Kelly with the rebound, and it looks like it's saved, and the net is deflected out of play. Or the net is not deflected out of play. It's in play. But the play is stopped because the net was deflected. There we go. Now we're shooting straight. Once again, huge thanks to all the folks who supported the Veterans Association yesterday. Just a reminder that the jerseys from the Veterans Day game will be available for auction on the Montana Tech website. You can find the link on the Instagram page, website, or on the Facebook. Delici with a shot that's deflected wide. Delici behind the net. Delici sends it in towards the center, and it's blocked. Out towards the boards, and it looks like there's going to be a call for cross-checking. That's not cross-checking. What is that? Never mind, that is cross-checking. I don't know why they didn't make cross-checking an actual cross. That would have been way funnier. That is Vandals number... That is Vandals number 21 going into the box. Montana Tech face off. Their second power play of the night. Carrier in the corner. Carrier sends it back to Elam. Elam walks towards the center. Down into the slot. Elam with an attempted shot and a whiff. Vandals clear the puck, chipping it down the ice. Intercepted by Engel. Engel sends it over to Elam. Elam picks it up behind the net. Sends it over to Carrier. Carrier with the puck. Past the red, past the blue, past the red, and into the offensive zone. Carrier behind the net. Carrier up at the point, sends it over to Elam. Elam walks towards the center. Over to Holland. Holland tries to send it across the slot to Carrier. Intercepted, and McCarthy takes it out into the corner. Back over to Carrier, over to Elam at the top of the slot. Elam over to Holland. Top of the circle near the boards. Back to Elam. Elam over to Carrier. Carrier down. McCarthy picks it up behind the net. McCarthy over to Holland. McCarthy. Holland. Holland sitting at the top of the circle. Over to Elam. Elam walks towards the center near the blue. Over to Carrier, who's at the top of the other circle. Back over to Holland. Saved by Crecilius. A lot of great passing over there by this line. 30 seconds left in the power play. Face off, won by the Vandals. Battle in the boards. Vandals attempt to clear the puck, but it's knocked back in. They do clear the puck, and Elam's now battling forward at the red. Vandals get control of the puck at the red and dump it into the zone towards the Montana Tech net. Vandals not going for a change. Holland is going to walk down the ice with the puck. Holland sends it over to Delici. Delici walks towards the slot. Intercepted by a Vandal, and he has to send it back to Carrier at the point. Carrier walks down, top of the circle, shot towards the net, blocked. Holland picks it up, walks into the corner. Holland over to Delici. Delici, Holland, shot, blocked, and it goes in. Goal by Montana Tech. Sorry for... Appears to be Holland's second of the night. Or maybe not. I don't know who that was. Ooh. Face off, Ripplinger takes it into the offensive zone. Inman back over to Ripplinger, and it's in front of the net, loose puck. Vandals send it wide. Vandals control the puck at the corner. Inman trying to chase him down. Vandals send it up the boards and into the offensive zone. Engels gets the puck, moves way out of the net, but he gets it over to his own team. Ripplinger has the puck. Over to... That was a goal. The last goal was by Ty Carrier, assisted by Jack Delici. Oh, assisted by Jack Delici and Kate Holland. Sorry. There's a middle number in between the other two, and I missed it. Anyways, Inman skating down the ice past the red into the offensive zone. Inman sends it towards center, sends it towards the slot. Ripplinger isn't quite there yet. Beer with the puck at the point. Vandals steal it, running down the ice. Vandals take it into the offensive zone. In behind the net. Vandals pick it up in the corner. They're sending it back around the other corner. Refs having a rough time. Vandals have it at the point, flings it towards the net, goes wide. Vandals in the corner, sends it towards the net again. Nobody's there to pick it up. Battle in the corner that I can't see. Hopefully you can. I'm sure it's exciting. Liam Beer behind the net. Sends it up to Inman. Inman, past center ice, down into the offensive zone. Inman with a chance at a shot. Deflected wide and out of play. Face off in the offensive zone for Montana Tech. Holland sends it back to Rock. Rock shot on net. That's number 7. Hold on, that's a new number. Who is number 7?
Who the fuck is that 7?
That is a 7. Who is 7?
We'll get there. Hold on.
Sorry, folks. Give me 1 second. And it's saved. Perfect time to look this up.
Persons.
Ah, that is J.J. Persons. All right. Some might even say he's a person of interest tonight. First time I've seen him on the ice. Vandals dump it in the zone at the net. Engels blocks it wide. It's behind the net. Attempted hit. Loose puck in front of the net. Vandals can't quite stuff it in. Battle. Sends it back in front of the net. Tries to. And it looks like Elam's going to be going into the box. Vandals going on their first power play of the night. Face off. Vandals up at the point. Vandals send it back towards center ice at the blue. Shot goes high. Battle in the corner. Rock sends it up. Onto the other end of the ice. Crescelius is going to grab the puck, send it over to his own player. Vandals. Kelly takes the puck behind the Vandals net. Vandals take it back, trying to clear it out of their own zone. Montana State knocks it back into the zone. Vandals can't quite seem to get some momentum in this power play. Vandals setting up again. Stretch pass over to the red. Not quite intercepted. Vandals take it again at their own blue line. Vandals with a pass back that's missed. Vandals resetting again in their own zone. Pass. Vandals take it out of their own zone. Montana Tech takes it. Kelly battling for the puck for a little bit. Now going for a change. Shake with the shot on net that's saved by Crescelius. Vandals seem to be struggling during this power play with getting some passes to break out of their own zone. Short-handed face-off on the offensive zone for Montana Tech. Carrier at the circle. One by the Vandals. Battle in the corner. Asher keeps it in the zone. Asher with an attempted shot, stuffed by a Vandal player. Holland with another shot on net, blocked by Crescelius. Goes wide into the corner, Vandals take possession. Holland putting pressure on, Vandals send it up the boards. Vandals clear it out of their own zone and dump it into the Montana Tech zone. Shot towards the net. It looks like there's going to be a penalty called on someone, but the puck was deflected out of play. Holland going in the net. Or not, Holland is not going in the net. That is where the goalie belongs. Holland is going in the box, where according to the ref, he belongs for the next 2 minutes. Carry at the face-off. It's now 5-on-3. Vandals with a serious chance to put their first point on the board for the weekend. Asher rips it around the boards. Vandals can't quite keep it in the zone, and they're now chasing it down in their own zone. 16 seconds left in the first power play. Vandals moving it down the ice at breakneck speed. Past the red, past the blue, and in the offensive zone. Pressured by Carrier and Asher. They walk it behind the Montana Tech net. In the corner. Walking across. Montana Tech is now up. It's 5-on-4 again. Minute 26 left in the Vandal power play. Vandals keep it in the zone. Vandals at the top of the circle. Pressured by Carrier. Elam tries to take a swat at the puck, and the Vandals dump it in towards the corner. Montana Tech clears the zone. It's going down to the other end of the ice. Vandals try to take it past the red, but it's taken by Montana Tech. Puck is deflected high and out of play. I don't think it matters how high the ceilings are. That puck was going out. That's going to be Shockey taking the face off in the defensive zone. 59 seconds left in the power play. Penalty kill, penalty kill. I am Montana Tech's announcer, so it is a penalty kill. Perfect. All right. Montana Tech clears the zone. It's picked up by Crescelius behind the net. Vandals send it out the boards. Clear it out of their own zone. At the blue line. Stretch pass across the ice. Picked up, kept, and brought into the offensive zone. Hit by Shockey, takes the puck. Shockey behind the Montana Tech net. Clears the zone once again. 33 seconds left in the penalty kill. I will get that right. Kelly with a nice little poke check there at the line. Kelly takes the puck again, and it looks like there's going to be a call. That's going to be Shockey going into the box. Once again, Vandals 5-on-3 for the next 23 seconds. Yet another serious chance. I believe this will now make almost 3.5 minutes of consecutive power play for the Vandals. By the time this is done, at any rate. Yeah, at any rate. Vandals up at the point. Across the ice. Walks towards the center. Shot deflected high and out of play. Pretty sure I saw one of the fans up there flinch pretty hard. A lot of trust in the netting over there. Face off in the defensive zone for Montana Tech. Carrier takes it, wins the face off, back. Vandals try to keep it in the zone, but can't quite do it. Resetting at the red line. Vandals 5 moves in with momentum. Intercepted by Carrier. Holland with a breakaway. Short-handed. Goal! That's a... Sorry, that's a hat trick by Kate Holland. I think I figured out what's going on. When I readjust the headset, I accidentally pressed the off button. Who would know that pressing the off button turns headsets off? I didn't, till now. Anyways, Montana Tech is now up 7-0 with a minute 30 left in the second power play. 5-on-4. Montana Tech clears the zone, sets it down the ice. Oh, okay. Wow. Crazy things going on. I don't know what's happening with the mic. But puck somewhere. Oh, there it is. Carrier in front of the net. Carrier taking it out of the zone. Back down the ice. Holland across the ice. And it's against the boards now. Vandals pick it up. Sent it into the zone. Battle behind the net. Carrier ends up sending it up the ice. Clears the zone. 38 seconds left in the power play. Penalty kill. Penalty kill. Vandals in their own zone still. Vandals send it back. Looking for a reset. Vandals over to the boards. Walks up past the blue. Stolen by Kelly. Kelly's walking down. Shot! Score by Kelly. Top right. And that's his first of the night. Kelly's been putting the pressure on the Vandals during this penalty kill, and it looks like it finally paid off. That's the second short-handed goal of Montana Tech for the night. Or should have been second goal of the night for Montana Tech. That sounds better. Let's go with that. I said that the first time. Face off. Kelly with the puck once again. Sends it over to Asher. Asher's going to walk into the offensive zone. 9 seconds left in the power play. Sends it off. Tries to send it off a pad. Crescelius deflects it wide to a Vandal. Vandals clear the zone.
Montana Tech is finally at full strength.
Montana Tech is back at full strength now. Battle in front of the net. Loose puck. Vandals chasing it to the boards. Vandals set it down the ice into the corner. Asher pinning someone up against the boards. It's going to be Kramer battling behind the net. Vandals with the puck in front of the net. Can't quite get a stick on it. Shot! Blocked by Engel. Engel drops in time. Shockey walking into the offensive zone. It's going to be stiffed by a Vandal. Vandals take control of the puck. Kelly still putting the pressure on him. Kelly in the corner. Gloves down by Kramer. And walk down to the top of the circle. That's going to be Delici grabbing the puck. Sends it over. That was Kelly with a shot there. And it's going to go get deflected high and out of play. We almost had a broken light there. That has happened before, and it's not good.
Last reminder, folks, be sure to get your pucks for the Chocolate Puck event at the second intermission. Be sure to see Riley in the blue suit in front of the exit doors for your pucks.
Saved by Crescelius. Face off, and that's going to be Keener taking the face off. Inman with a puck in the corner. Offensive zone. Riblinger sends it in behind the net. It's going to make Keener behind the net once again, battling. Inman with the puck, sends it behind his back. Tries to get it in front of the net, deflected off a skate. Inman in front of the net, saved. Excellent response by Crescelius to an intense scramble in front of the net. Inman tries to stuff it in, but Crescelius gets the better of him this time. Face off, gets sent back to Beer. Beer sends it in towards the net. Inman with a shot, and it's saved by Crescelius. Face off, won by Montana Tech. Riplinger in the corner. Back to the point. Riplinger with a shot. Deflected high and out of play.
Also, be sure to visit Riley in front of the exit doors for your 50/50 raffle tickets as well as your gun raffle.
Face off in the offensive zone. That's going to be Aberlay, Persons, and Pat. No. And Bielchini. There we go. Second time this line's been out on the ice tonight. Looking to get something done. That's going to be Elam walking in past the blue into the offensive zone. Elam sends it over. Rock sends it in back behind the net. Persons behind the net once again. Persons tries to send it out to Aberlay. Over across the ice. That's going to be Rock picking up at the Montana Tech blue line. And for a little bit of a reset. Sends it up the ice. Pass over. The Vandals are taking control of the puck. It's going to be icing on the Vandals. Face one on the offense. Face off. Again in the offensive zone. It's going to be line one taking it. Rock and Elam still on defense. Carrier wins it, sends it back to McCarthy, and it's going to be Elam in the corner. Elam tries to send it to Carrier in the slot, just goes high of a stick. Rock at the point, sends it down to Carrier in the corner. Carrier walks towards the center, and it's intercepted by the Vandals. Vandals clear the zone with intense pressure by Carrier and Elam. Puck stolen. Rock's going to be walking into the offensive zone again. Carrier with the puck. Coming back to the blue. Center. Back to Elam. No, that's McCarthy. McCarthy with a shot. Saved by Crescelius. Another face off in the offensive zone. It's going to be line one taking it. Vandals clear the zone. Kramer dumps. Keener dumps. No, Kramer dumps it back in. Oh, Montana Tech player goes down. Kramer trips on his own skate. Or a divot. Odds are it's a divot. It's Butte ice. Save by Engel. On a quick side note, one of the coworkers that I worked with this summer attempted to make my nickname Kramer. I'm glad that didn't catch on because it was in reference to Seinfeld, and that's not the reputation I want to have. Now, back to the faceoff in the defensive zone. Shake loses the faceoff. Vandals up at the point. Center on the boards. Asher in the corner. Sends it up to DeLici. DeLici with a pass up to Shockey. There it is. All right. Vandals get the puck. Clear it out of their own zone. Picked up by Kramer. Kramer walks it into the zone. Kramer in the corner. Goes towards the center. Shot. Goal! That's going to be Kramer. He worked hard for that goal. Walked it down the ice. I believe he shot that off of his own rebound. That's his first of the game series this weekend. Face off at center ice. Down the corner. That's going to be Ripplinger that picks up the puck. Shot in front of the net. That's going to be Kelly that picks up the puck again. Beer behind the net. Back over to Ripplinger. Ripplinger to Kelly. Kelly's going to take it down the ice into the offensive zone over to DeLici. DeLici walks behind the net. Vandals battling for the puck behind the net. It's going to be Kelly behind the net. Into the corner. Kelly's looking for a pass. Tries to send it over to the Beer. Not the Beer. Beer. And the Vandals get a stick on it. Now it's Kelly with it in the corner again. Kelly tries to take a shot on net. It's deflected and Gracilius keeps a hold of it. Keener at the face-off. This line's had a few chances tonight. So far, it's only been Ripplinger putting one in. Back to Inman in the offensive zone. Ripplinger poke checks it past a Vandal and into the corner. Sends it around the boards. And it's going to be Elam trying to keep it in the zone. Gets out, but Montana Tech maintains control of the puck. Inman with the puck, taking it into the offensive zone. Inman tries to skate with it. Poke check by the Vandals. Elam, keeping it in the offensive zone, sends it into the corner. Elam again with a shot blocked by the Vandals. Vandals chip it up and out of the zone. Hertlinger over to the Vandals. Vandals dump it into the Montana Tech zone. Looks like they'll be going for a change. Number 4. Rock with a little bit of difficulty there with a pass, but he ends up getting it through. Vandals dump it back into the zone. Elam with possession. Sends it over to Ripplinger. Ripplinger breaks it out of the zone past the red. And it's a battle for it at center ice against the boards. Elam over to Rock. Intercepted by Vandal. Rock poke check. Elam picks up the puck. Elam sends it around the boards. Over to Ripplinger. Montana Tech clears the zone, but the Vandals have the puck. Battle for the puck against the boards. It gets back to Elam in the zone. Rock taking it up, breaks it into the offensive zone. Dumps it, and the Vandals take possession in the corner. Line 1 back on the ice. Over to Rock, Holland. Holland skating with it down the ice, potentially looking for a fourth. Blocked by Gracilius. And it looks like there's going to be another goal on a secondary shot. I don't know which one that was, but if it was Ty Carrier, that's his third of the night and another hat trick.
Goal for Montana Tech.
Face off at center ice. Face off at center ice. I hope the mic was on. Was it on? Good. Mic was on. Anyways, Vandals clear the zone. And it's going to be Kramer
1 minute remaining in the second.
getting chased down by a Vandal in his own zone. Kramer sends the puck up to Asher. Asher over to Ty Carrier. Carrier in the slot. Over to, what a chance! Over to McCarthy. And Grisilius just manages to get a stick on it, with the most of the net wide open.
Montana Tech goal scored by number 27, Ty Carrier. Assisted by number 10, Kate Holland, and 9, Colin.
Shot by the Vandals, and it hits the post. That's their second post of the night. Vandals send it back towards the point. Shot on net. Engels sends it in the corner. Another shot. Engels deflects it up into the slot. Loose puck in the slot. Shot. Blocked by Tech. Vandals. Another attempted shot, but the Vandal player is down. Over on the boards. Battle. Holland with a big hit, and the puck is deflected into the stands. Luckily, the audience seems to have dodged effectively. Their PE teachers must have done a lot of dodgeball. Believe it or not, they were not allowed to do dodgeball in my PE class. I feel like I missed out because I really enjoy the game. Face off in the defensive zone. It's going to be Ty Carrier at the circle. Ty Carrier wins the face off. Moving forward over to McCarthy. McCarthy takes it out of the zone, past the red, past the blue, and into the offensive zone. And that's going to be the end of the second period, folks. Time to do chuck-a-puck. All right, now we're headed into the third and final period of this game series of Montana Tech versus the Vandals this weekend. Well, third and final period unless it goes into overtime. There's always a chance. All right, Ty Carrier at the face-off. Carrier wins the face-off back, but it's deflected off of McCarthy's skate. Into the Vandal zone, Vandals take possession. Vandals taking it behind the net, sends it over. And it's missed by Rock all the way back down to the Montana Tech defensive zone. Elam sends it back along the boards. Rock picks it up. Rock with the puck in the skates, struggling a little bit, gets over to Holland. Holland tries to send it up the boards, but he's stuffed by the Vandals. Holland sends it behind the net, it's picked up by Elam. Carrier, past the blue. Montana Tech clears the zone. Holland picks it up at the red. Holland dumps the puck into the offensive zone, and McCarthy's going to give chase. Vandals send it up the boards and out of the zone. Elam's going to pick it up. Asher's on the ice. Carrier taking it past the red, past the blue into the offensive zone. Saved by Crescelius. Thank you. Crescelius? I don't know why, but in the 20 minutes between periods, I have forgotten. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, Crescelius. Perfect. Shockey at the face-off at the circle in the offensive zone. Shockey wins the face-off. Goes back to Asher, and Asher gives it to Delici. Delici chasing it around the net. It's going to be Kelly in the corner now. Kelly facing off against the Vandal. Goes out, and another Vandal picks it up, sends it around the boards, and Asher's going to pick it up at the point. Asher sends it deeper over to Shockey, but Shockey misses. Back to Asher. Asher dumps it deep again. Behind the net, Shockey's battling for the puck. Over to the corner, and now it's Shockey and Kelly. Kelly chasing down in the corner. Delici and Kelly. Kelly by himself again. 2-on-1 with the Vandal. Vandal takes out the puck, but Delici's there to take it again. In front of the net, Shockey with a shot, blocked. Shockey tries to get a hold of it again, but it's stuck in his arm. Vandals end up clearing the zone. Montana Tech will take possession in their own. All right, we got Keener taking the face-off. Keener wins it over to Ripplinger. Ripplinger kicks up the Beer. Beer kicks it back with a skate. That was really smooth. He should be playing soccer. Just kidding, he's quite good at hockey. Anyways, that's going to be, who is that? Oh, that's Keener. Vandals clear the puck from their own zone and end up sending it back in. Tries to pass to clear the puck. Keener intercepts it. Keener walks it into the zone. Shot on net. Directly into Crescelius. In the corner, Ripplinger sends it back to Keener. Keener wrapping around a little bit. Keener's on the ground still. No, that's Ripplinger on the ground. Keener was standing up. No, neither of them was Keener. Yes, one of them was Keener. Who am I kidding? Myself, that's who I'm kidding. And the viewers, all of you. Regardless, back to the zone. Vandals have it in the offensive zone. Montana Tech steals the puck. Taking it past the blue. It's going to be Ripplinger past the red and into the offensive zone. He's tripped, and it's a delayed call on the Vandals. Vandals going into the box for tripping. Montana with their third power play of the night.
You get thirsty? Be sure to visit Stella's Food Village. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Stella's Food Village, serving drinks at all parties.
Face off in the offensive zone for Montana Tech. That's going to be Elam walking towards the center near the blue. Elam sends it back to Carrier. Carrier at the point. Back over to Elam at the other point. Down to Holland, bottom of the circle. Holland to Elam. Over to Carrier. Carrier to Elam. Back to Carrier. Carrier is going to send it down to Delici at the bottom of the slot in front of the net, and the Vandals clear it wide. Not clear it wide, they clear it down the ice to the other zone.
2-minute penalty for the Vandals. Number 21, Gavin Dangerosus for Strickland.
It's going to be Engel with the puck, sends it over to Elam. Elam's going to walk down the ice, past the red, past the blue, into the offensive zone. Elam sends the puck deep into the corner, sends it back to McCarthy. McCarthy sends it around the boards, all the way up to Holland. Holland can't quite keep it in the zone, and Carrier picks it up at the red. Carrier taking it into the zone. Carrier at the circle, bottom of the circle, tries to get a shot off, but he's stuffed by the middle. Sorry, excuse me. Behind the net, McCarthy walking up to the bottom of the circle, tries to send it in front. Nobody's there. Or somebody's there, but they don't see it. Holland up at the point. Holland over to Elam. Elam to Carrier. Carrier scores. That's his fourth of the night. That's the second hat trick of the night, I believe, or it's his fourth. It's either a hat trick or it's fourth. Let me look at the goal list real quick. That's his fifth?
Yes.
Oh, well, it seems I'm bad at counting. I said this last night, but you would think engineers would be good at counting. Wrong. It's a fatal weakness. Counting, addition, and subtraction. The main reasons I lose points on math tests. All right, Montana Tech in the defensive zone. Clearing it. That's going to be Persons. Biolich. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. I'm going to butcher that name a couple times. Ryan Patrick. Rock over to Elam. Elam's going to walk up. Hold on, let me look up that name real quick. Biolchini, thank you. Shockey at the face-off, wins it, picked up by Kelly. Kelly's going to walk towards the net, sends it into the slot, and nobody can quite stuff it in. Criselius with another save. Criselius has been doing fairly well tonight with loose pucks in front of the net. Face off in the offensive zone. Asher over to Kelly. Kelly with a shot deflected by the Vandals. Delici wrapping around the boards. He's going to move in towards Asher. I can't see. The Vandals have the puck now. Vandals walking up past the red, past the blue into the offensive zone. Stolen by Montana Tech. And that's Kramer. Goes down in style. Kelly walking it down into the offensive zone. Delici with a shot. Just over and into the boards. Kelly behind the net. Pulls back. Kelly's having fun behind the net right now. Delici in front of the net. Shot. Deflected up a little bit by Vandal. Just over the net. Back to the point with Kramer. Delici. Delici's walking up towards the blue. Shot by Kelly. What a glove save by Criselius. Oh my goodness. That was an unreal save. Great eye by Criselius. We might see that one later on Hockey House Pod. As the announcer for the game has just said, and I quote, I would be depressed, but that was really impressive. All right, another face-off in the offensive zone. Vandals try to clear the puck by knocking it off the boards, but hits the metal and goes high. Shot on net. And Criselius with another save. Face-off won by Montana Tech. Back to Delici. Delici to Riplinger. Riplinger Attempted shot on net, blocked by the Vandals. Inman, over around the corner, up to Kramer. Kramer knocks it back down over to Riplinger. Riplinger's in the corner, sends it over to Inman. Inman tries to send it in front of the net, goes high and wide. Over on the boards, Vandals have the puck, break it out of their own zone. Inman hot at his heels. Montana Tech now has possession in their own zone, setting up for another push. Asher walks down into the offensive zone, and that's going to be called offsides on Montana Tech. 13 minutes, 6 seconds left in the third period. Carrier at face-off. Face-off won by Montana Tech. Set up for another, dumped into the zone and around the boards. Crescelius will now grab the puck and force the face-off. Carrier behind the net in the corner. Carrier up at the point, sends it over to, who is that? Riplinger. McCarthy. Over to Carrier. Carrier again. He's going to walk around to the point, drop it back to Beer. Nope, not drop it back. He's just going to keep going with it. It's like a merry-go-round, but with the puck and Carrier. Holland with a shot from the center of the circle, off the post and wide. Holland with the puck again, sends it down into the boards in the corner. Holland, center of the boards, sends it behind his back around the boards, and it's going to be McCarthy chasing it behind the net. McCarthy, stick between the Vandals' feet, can't quite get a hold of the puck. Goes around the boards, Beer's going to knock it back down. McCarthy in front of the net. Loose puck, and it's going to go wide. Holland, possession again. Top of the slot near the blue. Over to Riplinger. Riplinger shot high, and it's going to go wrap around the boards and out of the zone. Beer's chasing it down. Vandal hot on his heels. Behind the Montana Tech. You know what? It was bound to happen. I was going to mumble over my voice at some point, and it happened to me now. Montana Tech with possession in the zone. And face off for net being off. I really got to figure out what the actual name for that call is. But for now, it's net being off, because that's what it is. Face off on by the Vandals, shot on net. Kelly taking it down the ice, past the blue. That's the red. Towards the center, attempted one-timer by Elam, and it's just barely whiffed. Vandals take the puck down the ice, stolen by Kramer. Kramer behind the Montana Tech net, circling around. Kramer past the blue. Attempted stress pass to Delici, just missed. Vandals clear to the zone again. At the red. Carrier. Over to Holland. That's not Holland, that's Kelly. Kelly to Delici. Delici's behind the net now with the puck. In the corner. Delici coming up hot towards the point. Over to Elam. That's going to be Kramer. Kramer's going to try to send it over to Elam, and it's going to be poke checked by the Vandals. Kramer behind the Montana Tech net. Turns around. Up the boards over to Delici. Delici sends it up to Shockey. Shaky with a big hit against him into the boards. He's up and fine, though. Little disoriented. Players are going down. Vandals send it into the zone. Elam's going to pick it up behind the Tech net. Elam in the corner, sends it up to Riplinger. Kelly taking it into the offensive zone. Kelly loses the stick, and it's going to be Riplinger that tries to take up the puck. Vandals will take it anyways and attempt to clear the zone. They succeed, but it's picked up by Keener. Keener shoots it around the boards, and a couple of Tech players will go for a change. Keener putting the pressure on in the offensive zone. Edmond attempts to follow, but the Vandals clear it. Icing on the Vandals. Keener at the face-off in the offensive zone. One by the Vandals into the corner. Riblinger putting the pressure on. It's going to be Asher up at the point. Vandals get it past him. Clear the zone. Riblinger intercepts the puck from the Vandals and attempts to poke check it back in. Big hit from behind from the Vandals. No call. Retaliatory hit by Riblinger, and that's going to be a penalty on Montana Tech. I believe he's probably going in for roughing. No, maybe. Let's see. Do I even know the signal for roughing? I don't know if that's roughing or holding or something. Right now it's or something. Two-minute Vandals, 2-minute power play. Face off the Montana Tech defensive zone. Vandals up at the point. Send it across. Battle for the puck. Elam's trying to poke check. Gets it out. Vandals keep it up at the point. Vandals send it across. Shockey moving in, and the puck is deflected high and out of play. Face off in the Montana Tech defensive zone. Over to the Vandals. Vandals up high. Vandals send it deep into the boards. In the corner. It's in front of the net. Over to Kelly. Kelly's going to clear it out of the zone. Send it around the boards. Shockey with an attempted shot, short-handed. Blocked by Crescelius. Carrier really putting the pressure on the Vandals in their own zone right now. Looks like Carrier might be hurt. No, he's fine. Carrier steals the puck again. Tends to take it on the ice. Stuffed by the Vandals. Vandals send it deep into Montana Tech zone around the boards. Asher's going to send it behind over to Holland. Holland's going to clear the zone, and the Vandals are going to pick it up. Vandals take it back in. That's offsides. Carrier picks up the puck. Carrier walking down the ice again. Past the blue. Back again into the Montana Tech side of the blue. He's going to go for a reset. Carrier dumps the puck. Huge kill on the power play by Carrier. Helen behind the Vandals net. He's going to send it up around the boards. Over to Kramer. Kramer up past the blue. Past the red. Past the blue again. Kramer's going to... Vandals are going to get a stick in his feet. But he's not going to go down. Does lose the puck though. Elam over at the point. Over to Holland. The other point. Holland down in the slot. McCarthy with a shot across. McCarthy with another backhand attempted. Final backhand goes wide. Crescelius with the first save. Attempted clear by the Vandals. Intercepted by Delici. Delici shot from the bottom of the circle. Blocked by Crescelius.
Once again, a reminder to get yourself your 50/50 raffle tickets as well as run raffle tickets at Wiley, the exit door. While you're there, find out if you can get a ticket.
Keener taking the face off in the offensive zone. One by the Vandals. Cleared by the Vandals. Taken up by number 70. Asher poke checks number 70. Ends up taking the puck. Vandals take it back with a shot on net. Engels save. Face off the Montana Tech defensive zone. Puck goes behind the net. That's going to be Kramer behind the net with the puck. Sends it back behind him over to Asher. Asher sends it up the boards to Inman. Inman doesn't get a hold of the puck, but clears anyways. Vandals take possession. Getting pressured by Keener. Vandals dump it into the Montana Tech zone. It's going to be Kramer behind the net picking it up. Kramer attempts to do a dump pass, but the Vandals get there first. Kramer grabs it again over to Riblinger. Vandals grab it instead of Riblinger. And it's against the boards again. Kramer attempting to chip it up the boards past the Vandals. Doesn't quite get it. Vandals take it in behind the net. Front of the net! Vandals with a great chance there. Can't quite stuff it. Vandals with an attempted slap shot against the net. Doesn't quite make it there. Blocked by Tech. Face off. Won by the Vandals. Vandals end up losing the puck and exiting the zone. It's Patrick Aberle and Biolchini out now. Vandals will take the puck, clear their own zone. Walking down. Shot on net. Engels blocks to the side. Into the corner. That's going to be Persons in front of the net. No, that's not Persons. That's Rock. Single digit number. Completely different. Aberle moves in. Aberle and Biolchini battling in the boards. Clears the zone. Biolchini moving in. Vandals will take it into the zone. Shot on net. Wide. Blocked by Engel. And the goal is knocked off. Play is stopped. Face off just outside of the Montana Tech defensive zone. Won by the Vandals. Kelly hot on their heels. Vandals gain control, send it up the boards. Into the offensive zone. It's going to be Elam that picks it up. Chips it up past the boards, past Rock, but out of the zone. Vandals send it back in on net. Engels will make the save. Engels checks it out to Rock. Rock into the corner. Rock attempt to pass it to Delici. Delici misses it. Vandals end up intercepting and sending it back into the zone. Puck deflected high, but not into the ceiling. Barely. Kelly moves up. Sorry, I got invested in the game there for a second. Wasn't commentating. Elam behind the net. Kelly in front of the net. Shot backhand. Saved by Crescelius. Carry. Sorry, the mic went off again. And by went off, I mean I accidentally pressed the power button. If they didn't want me to press it, they would make it so easy to press. I barely have to use any force. Carrier wins the face-off back in behind the net. Carrier walking around. He's in the corner. Back up. Elam at the point. Elam's going to walk towards the center, send it over to Rock. Holland. Back to Elam. Back to Holland. Holland's going to send it to McCarthy in the center. McCarthy chips it over towards the net. It's cleared out by the Vandals. Rock. Back to Elam. Elam down against the boards. Carrier picks it up in the corner. Carrier taking it up the boards. It's going to get out to Elam. Carrier walks in towards top of the circle. Center. Holland with a shot and a goal. That's Holland's 4th or 5th of the night, boys. And by boys, I mean families at home.
All right, folks.
Montana Tech is now up 12-0 with 3:14 left in the third period. Face off won by the Vandals. Zone entry by Montana Tech. Riplinger chasing it into the corner. Keener battling in the corner with Riplinger against two Vandals. Vandals get it out. Inman's there to pick it up. Inman sends it in back around the net. Keener in front of the net. Nobody's there. Inman attempts to get a piece of it, but the Vandals get a hold of it first. Vandals going down, past the red, past the blue, into the offensive zone. Attempted shot on net, deflected high by Riplinger's skate. Sent back around the boards. Riplinger's going to pick it up, and it's going to be intercepted by a Vandal. Vandal sends it across the ice. Blocked by a skate. And dumped in by the Vandals. It's going to rip around the boards. Inman battling for the puck, and the Vandals will send it in behind the net again. Beer, Riplinger battling for the puck. Inman, past the Vandal, and into the Vandal zone. Keener hot on his heels. Keener's going to get stuck on his own stick and almost fall on the boards. Vandals will send it around the boards to the other Vandal. Who would have thought he's going to send it to the other Vandal? It's going to be Kelly putting the pressure on in the offensive zone. Vandals will clear it to the side. And it's going to be Shockey coming in around the corner, picking up the puck behind the net, sends it in front. Nobody's there. Delici coming in hot, but the Vandals will get past him. Vandals past the red, past the blue. Spinorama on a whiff pass. Shot. That was probably a shot, considering there's nobody in the direction he was shooting. Vandal tries to bring it in towards the net. Deflected off of Montana Tech stick. Still a loose puck in front of the net. Tried to hit wide by Angle. Still loose puck in the slot. Montana Tech clears the zone. Vandals setting up for another zone entry, and they dump the puck. Angles behind the net. Sends it around to Beer. Past Beer over to Kelly. Kelly tries to dump it past the Shake. Intercepted by Vandal. Vandals move it into the corner. Back towards the front of the net. Nobody's there. Kelly behind the net. I think that's Kelly. Maybe it's not. Delici, poke check back. It was Riplinger, not Kelly. Kelly's on the other side of the ice. Liam Beer back in the defensive zone, sends it across to Riplinger. Riplinger over to Beer. Beer across to Delici, off the skate, and it goes nowhere. Back into the Montana Tech zone. Riplinger over to Beer, back to Riplinger. Riplinger moving out the ice. Deflected off a skate. The Vandals put it back in the zone. Montana Tech takes possession. Kelly intercepts a pass. Clears the Montana Tech zone with a pass over to Aberle. Aberle to Riplinger. Beer. Up the ice. Kelly's there. But the Vandals get to it first. Vandals take it into the zone. And Beer's going to almost go down. That's the end of the game. Thanks to all the folks who tuned in to watch tonight. I'd appreciate your feedback, good or bad. I will try to fix the technical issues for next time. And congratulations to Montana Tech for a 12-0 win and a sweep of the weekend. Roll Digs, baby.
Examine your tickets now.